457 plans may not be the best choice. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, what are the pros and cons of a 457 plan? So, my name's Doug Andrew, and I've been a retirement planning specialist now for more than 47 years. And I've observed many Americans save for retirement in all types of qualified and non-qualified plans, usually into traditional accounts where you're putting in pre-tax contributions or tax-deductible contributions like an IRA. And that's usually based upon the premise that you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire. Well, that has not been true or axiomatic now for more than 30 years. Most people who save very much find themselves not in a lower tax bracket when they retire, even if they have less income. I'll come back to that and explain why. And this is going to give you some insights into why maybe a 457 plan may not be the best choice. But first of all, go through what a 457 plan is, some of the pros, some of the cons, and then I'm going to share with you what I feel is far better than putting money into a 457 plan. So a 457 plan, sometimes it's called a 457B to be more accurate, is a section in the Internal Revenue Code, just like Section 401k or 403B. These are sections in the Internal Revenue Code that allow people to be able to save for retirement in some type of a tax-deferred vehicle. And so they have different rules, or the amount of contribution you can make can vary. So most Americans, if they work in the private sector for a company that offers a 401k plan, that means that you can set aside money, pre-tax dollars, and this is a defined contribution plan. See, 401ks came about because a lot of companies no longer wanted to guarantee a pension or a defined benefit for how many years of service you taught school or whatever. And those are called defined benefit plans, where maybe a school teacher gets 2% for every year of service. They taught for 30 years, so 2% times 30, you get 60% of your last best paychecks as a defined benefit. So defined contribution means that the employee gets to define how much they want to contribute to a plan. So it's up to wherever you allocate that money in a 401k based upon your risk tolerance that will determine the rate of return and how much you have. There's no guarantees on what your nest egg will be. But most people who use a traditional 401k, you're putting in pre-tax contributions. Like an IRA, whatever you contribute is tax deductible. And then when you go to retire and you start accessing the money, you have to start paying tax on it. And most people thought they were going to be in a lower bracket. Well, Roths came about in 1997 when people began to realize, I'm not going to be in a lower tax bracket because I've saved so much money. And so they wanted to pay tax on the contribution and enjoy the distribution tax-free, and that's a Roth. Now, let's go back to 401ks. That's the most common. Well, what's a 457 or a 403b? These are similar type plans that are offered to certain employees like police officers, firefighters, maybe school teachers. Oftentimes, the agency who employs these people, they are government employees, whether it's state or local or federal government. And so a 403b allows people to contribute up to a certain amount every year, but you can't touch the money before age 59 and a half without incurring a 10% penalty on top of the tax. So what about a 457? If you have a 457 plan offered by your employer, you can contribute to that 457 on top of the 403b if you happen to have a 403b available at your employer. So a lot of people like to use a 457 plan for that reason. The advantages are with the 457, it's not really deemed technically a qualified plan, and so it's not governed by the rules of ERISA, meaning that you can access your money. If you leave the employ of being a firefighter or a police officer, you can access your money without a 10% penalty before the age of 59 and a half. That's a huge advantage because many times public servants and first responders maybe only work for 20 years and they want to access that money in their 40s or 50s. They can do that without a 10% penalty. Also, if you have a 457 plan, it's deferred compensation. So you're telling your employer, don't pay me now, pay me later, but it's actually still their money. Now, that's an advantage if you got sued because the 457 plan money is not subject to the claims of the creditors if you're going through a bankruptcy. But if the agency, the government agency gets into trouble, their creditors could have claim on your money in that 457 plan, but it's highly unlikely a government agency would actually go out of business. So what is the real advantage of a 457 plan? Well, you can contribute up to the maximum amount allowed in a given tax year. As of the recording of this episode in the year 2021, $19,500 a year. If you're over age 50, you can do a catch-up. You can add another $6,500 to that. The last 3 years before you retire, you can actually put in double. And so if you could put in $19,500, you double that, and that would be $39,000 that you could contribute each year the last 3 years before you retire. Now, some people think, oh, this is incredible, and I can have a 457 plan on top of a 403B. Well, yeah, those are some of the pros, but what are the cons? You will have to pay tax on that when you access that money. And most people are not in lower tax brackets when they retire if they save very much of a respectable retirement nest egg. I've seen this over and over and over again. So I'm going to ask you a few questions on if those are the advantages that you see in a 457 plan, that you can contribute, you can access money before age 59 and a half if you leave the employer without a 10% penalty, and it's actually a deferred comp plan. Well, you can do that without having to jump through the hoops of a government regulated type of a plan. So the 457 has pros, it has cons, but I'm going to share with you what I think is far better. Now, if this is intriguing you, be sure and share this video with somebody who you know, maybe a firefighter, a police officer, or a school teacher, a university that offers a 457 plan. This is usually for nonprofits or the academic hospitals where they train medical students and so forth. You may want to share this video with them to give them insights. But subscribe to the channel, click on the bell because I post an in-depth answer to a financial question almost on a daily basis on this channel. But stay with me to the end. I want to gift you a copy of my most recent best-selling book that will help you understand what I'm about to share with you. Okay? Now, what is really better, in my opinion, than a 457 plan? Here we go. What if I told you, hey, the government just changed the rules on 457 plans or 403Bs or 401Ks, and you can actually contribute however much you want. It's not based upon your income or a certain dollar amount each year, like as the recording of this video, $19,500 is the maximum you can put in. Oh, you could put in $30,000. You could put in $50,000. If you have a banner year, you could put in $100,000, okay? They just changed the rules on this, let's say. And if you need to access money, you don't have to wait till you quit being a firefighter or a police officer or a school teacher. You could access the money anytime you want. In your 30s, 40s, you don't have to wait until you're 59 and a half. And when you access the money, it's totally tax-free. The trade-off is you have to pay tax on the contributions that you put in. So this is like a Roth, and it's going to be tax-free on the back end. Oh, by the way, this particular plan means that if you happen to die in an accident or by natural causes, anything in that plan will blossom. It will increase in value and transfer totally tax-free to your heirs, to your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, a charity, whoever you want. People would go, what? I've never heard of a plan like that. Well, it's because it's a non-qualified plan, which technically a 457 is deemed a non-qualified plan. That's why you can access the money when you leave the employ before age 59 and a half. What is this? It's what I call the laser fund. The laser fund allows you to be able to put in as much money as you want when you design it to accommodate 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 a year. You don't have to put in 100, you can put in 30. You can do catch up. If you only put in 30,000 and you could have put in 100,000, anywhere down the road, you can make up the other 70,000. Okay? If you don't use the room, you don't lose it. So what's the difference? This is totally tax-free. When you access the money, you can access it and you can keep teaching school or being a police officer. You don't have to leave the employer in order to be able to access the money. And when you ultimately die, it blossoms and transfers tax-free. What is it? It's a max-funded indexed insurance contract where I have earned personally, and thousands of people that have listened and watched and that I've pointed my students to the advisors, they've achieved rates of return averaging between 7 to 10%. Many of them this year, I'm recording this in the year 2021, have locked in gains of 30% and even 61.33% tax-free. This is probably the least understood and the greatest vehicle that'll knock the socks off of a 457 plan, has all the benefits and a whole bunch more, let alone 403Bs and 401Ks. You need to learn more about this laser fund. If this is intriguing you, I want to gift you a copy of my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund. Now, if you go to laserfund.com, L-E-S-E-R fund.com, click on the link below, I'll tell you what, you contribute a nominal amount toward the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I will pay for the book and fire it out to you. You don't need to pay $20 on Amazon for this book. It's a 300-page book, but it's actually 2 books in one. This side here with the orange cover is actually for the right brain thinker or decision maker. This is about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 chicken soup for the financial soul stories of how the laser fund is like a dream solution for all kinds of goals, but why it's most popular for retirement planning. When you flip the book over to this side, the white side, it is comprised of 200 pages, 14 chapters with all the charts, graphs, and explanations. When you study this, you'll understand why it is better than a 401k, 403b, 457, and why it's better to pay tax on the contributions and enjoy the distributions totally tax-free. It's not a Roth. Roth only have 2 benefits. This has those 2 benefits and 4 additional benefits that Roths will never have. So click on the link below. Get your copy of the Laser Fund and learn what's better than a 457 plan, in my opinion.